long time since I did a video, and I chose to go live because it's just easier for uploading. Sometimes it can take hours to upload a 10-minute video where I am, so it's just easier to go live and do it that way. So if I make some mistakes, please forgive me. I'm not polished at all of this. I don't have a team helping me, it's just me. Okay, so today, what's next is what I wanted to talk about. Partly the reason you haven't seen me, well, a big component to that, is because I got a very clear message, like many of you, to go within. To stop listening to all the voices outside, stop listening to all of everybody else's opinions, what to do, what not to do, what to be afraid of, where to, focus your energy. And the last channeling we did, one of the most profound things that Kassandra said, and I want to speak to that as well. So I'm going to jump around a little bit, but bear with me because there's a lot of gold in this communication. In the last channeling, Kassandra said, disconnect from the metaverse and connect to the universe. That really struck a chord with me because prior to that, I'd already stopped doing anything like making videos or speaking. I was already going within. And her saying that really, it's like something went ding, 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 ding inside of me. And I also challenge myself all the time around channeling because it's a very unusual thing to do. It's not a normal thing to do. And I still, even though I've been doing it for, well, I'm 65 and I've been doing it since I was 26. It's a long time when I first started channeling. Not openly, but I started when I was 26. So, 39 years ago. And I still to this day question it. And what recently came to me was we don't question when someone has an entity, when they're being possessed by something evil. We don't question that, right? We believe that this happens. Yet, we still cannot grapple in our minds when something good is coming through someone. And I'm aware that Kassandra is good. That's the being that I channel. Because she has guided my life. And she's guided other people's lives. Not controlled it, not had authority over it, but opened up the wisdom that's inside the person to show them their own path. And that's what she does for me. So when she says to me, Susan, stop going out, go within, go within, go within. I'm very aware what that means. It means meditate more. It doesn't mean I'm meditating for hours a day. Be silent more. Be in the present moment. So reminding myself that this moment right now is the most powerful moment I have if I'm fully present. If I'm in the past thinking about something I should have done, could have done, would have done, blah, 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 or if I'm in the future, what I might do, what will happen when I finally get to this point, I'm not at a point of power because it's only in the present moment, without the past, without the future, that all my energy comes to this moment right now. And when all my energy comes to this moment right now, whatever I think and feel will continue to be made manifest. So if I'm at peace, if I'm at one with the universe, with all that is, my life is calm and it's good. The moment I start digging into my past too much without control, in other words, if something comes up about my past and it's bugging me, I know that I have to do a healing on it. I need to seek some insight into what's going on, why am I being reminded of it, and what is it trying to teach me? What am I wanting to heal? Is it ancestral? Is it past life? Is it this life? Is it something that was imprinted in me that actually doesn't belong to me and my divinity? So there's that. If I'm too much in the future, which I don't tend to do, but let's just say if I was too much in the future, then I'm giving my power and authority away to something that hasn't even happened, hoping that it will happen. And a lot of the time when people are in the future, they're blabbing about it all the time. So they're dispersing the energy and it doesn't happen. That's just abbreviated thing around manifestation. So I'm aware that if I'm in the present moment, now the interesting thing about being in the present moment is that you don't have goals or plans in the present moment because you're actioning what you need to action in that moment. And this is part of where we're going. So for many people, making plans, making goals isn't working anymore because they've jumped into a different, let's say, timeline or reality. So as you move from mind to heart, your reality starts to move. And as your reality starts to move, that which served you in the past no longer serves you. So how you manifested, how you set your goals, your disciplines and everything doesn't serve you anymore, right? So, and there's something to be said for that, because what I've been doing is, in a way, coming to terms with what I really believe. Not what other people believe or what I've read to believe, steered to believe, to know. It's really what's inside me, what I know to be true about myself. I want to give you a couple of things that came up for me this morning in a meditation I did. It was very odd because Spirit came to me and started communicating at the end of the meditation, and they said, do you remember, and I'm gonna pull out two names here of very well-known people, and I'm not discrediting them. I want to describe to you what happened with those people. So the first one is Wayne Dyer. And we all remember Wayne Dyer. I never read any of his stuff. People sent me his books, his CDs on meditation, because I'm a very avid meditator. I've been meditating since I first learnt transcendental meditation in my early 20s at the University of Western Sydney, that they did as a sort of a thing for students. You know, you could go learn transcendental meditation, and I went along and that's when I started meditating, and it started a whole load of things moving forward for me, and a lot of understanding. So Wayne Dyer was a great teacher of that, and a lot of philosophies of life, right? But if you remember, Wayne got really sick. He had cancer. And I saw an interview he did. It was a very open and honest interview. It was probably one of the very few things I ever heard of Wayne Dyer's, because I had a disconnect from him. And I never understood why I had that disconnect until I listened to that. I liked Lulu Mace, right? I really liked her as an interviewer. And so I like to listen to some of her interviews. And that's the reason I listened to it. Anyway, she interviewed him about his recent situation, his illness, his cancer. And he very openly said that when he got the diagnosis, everything that he had taught, that he knew cerebrally, that he knew in his mind, went out the window, and he went 100% medical and believed he was going to die. And a friend of his pushed back on him, a very close friend, a very dear friend, pushed back on him to open himself to the spiritual meaning and the spiritual healing that would heal his disease. And even though at the time he didn't believe it would work, and it showed him that what he had written, what he had philosophized, what book knowledge he had, he truly did not embody. He didn't understand it. He didn't take it in. It wasn't part of his life's journey. He didn't believe it because he didn't integrate it. It was all cerebral. It was all knowledge. And this is what a lot of people are going through right now. They're being confronted. We're all being confronted with what we truly, truly believe. Not what we've been told, not what we've studied, not what we have memorized, but what we know. And because a friend of his decided that he wasn't going to die, that she was going to prove to him that he could heal using spiritual means, he did. He recovered and he healed. And it restored him. It kind of brought him back to understanding. It took him on another journey of understanding what he'd been writing, what he was teaching, had validity. He just didn't integrate it into his life. And the other person I'm going to talk about is Doreen Virtue. So Doreen Virtue was incredible with opening up the world about angels, specifically angels, gods and goddesses, but more goddesses and the feminine energy. And she was very good at serving up information that she had researched. She'd spoken to others, read a lot of books, brought it all together in a concept that the average person could understand. And she did really well. But then she turned her back on all of it. And she decided to go into Catholicism and say that it's all evil. Now, why would she do that? Because in reality, she also didn't believe what she was teaching. She didn't believe it. So it was very easy for her to turn her back on it, even though the Catholicism or religion speaks of angels. They're very strong in the Bible. So we know they exist. And the Bible and all the teachings of most religions talk about guardian angels around children and things like this. So what we know for sure is that angels exist. And Doreen Virtue came up against the fact that she didn't honestly believe or feel good about what she was doing, which is why she turned her back on the New Age. And so did Wayne. He turned his back on what he was teaching. She turned her back on what she was teaching. Why? Because they weren't authentic. They weren't coming from what they know, what they've experienced. And that's the reason why I stopped making videos. I needed to go within. I cannot share with you anything unless I know it, I've internalized it. And that's how I work. Now, I know a lot of people will take a snippet of what they hear from someone else and turn it into an entire course. I've had that happen with my things. Turn it into an entire course that becomes very successful. The issue I have with that is they actually don't believe what they're teaching. So there's no foundation to them and what they represent. So eventually it goes belly up. We are all going through a time of authenticity, authority, and we're being challenged by that. We're being challenged through intimidation. Intimidation from the outside, the government, the medical, the education, the media, yeah, the financial, the political, the religious. We are being intimidated to find our own authority. When you don't know what your own authority, what you believe, that you know in your heart to be true about yourself and this world that we live in, this universe that we are connected to, not the metaverse, we're connected to the universe. If we don't deeply understand that and know it, not just here, but here, we're going to be challenged. Your authority is going to be challenged. And you're going to find yourself intimidated, afraid of what may come to you. Don't be afraid. Go within. Everything that's happening in externally. And I remember, again, in my probably mid-20s, I read Shirley MacLaine's book, Out on a Limb. And I also read Bringers of the Dawn, Barbara Marciniak, one of my favourite books. The Force, Stuart Wilde. There's a number of books that I think really were ahead of their time. But anyway, Shirley MacLaine, there was the movie Out on a Limb. Possibly I'd like to watch that again. In that book, she wrote, and it really stuck in my mind, when I look at the world, I see everything that I've created. I look at every person who walks past me as part of my amazing imagination. And when I see things that are, different, I say to myself, what an incredible imagination I have. And I remember walking down, if anybody knows Australia, Sydney, I used to live on Crown Street, off Oxford Street, which is the gay capital of Sydney, right? And I lived there for a number of years. And then I lived in Paddington, around that area, Rushcutters Bay. And I remember walking down Oxford Street. And of course, you've got all the colours of the flamboyance. And even back then, you're talking the 80s. In the 80s, there were gay nightclubs, lesbian nightclubs, drag queens. It was happening then. And I remember walking. I loved it. I loved it all. And I remember walking down the street one day and thinking the way Shirley MacLaine had in her book, and looking around at what was before me and thinking, wow, I'm truly amazing. What an incredible imagination I have, with all of these colours, varieties of personalities, people, belief systems. But the one thing that actually ran through that was kindness. Yeah, because I seem to attract people who are kind, people who have been perhaps hurt, but still maintain that level of kindness and charity towards the rest of the world. So yeah, that's what I know to be true. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you, because that's the reason why I haven't been doing any videos. But I am going to do a channeling on the 26th of April. And it's a Saturday. And it's the same title, What's Next? And Kassandra will bring through what is next. What is next for us? Us in this human body right now. What can we do to help ourselves? What can we do to ensure that we're living a peaceful, healthy, abundant life? What can we do to make sure that our own self-authority isn't confronted with this intimidation? Because I tell you, this intimidation is going to speed up this year. It's going to become stronger. And we have to know in ourselves, this is not right. I've had experiences in my life where, Kassandra and Spirit, often we talk about initiations that happen to people. So when you want to work or you start working with different beings, you go through an initiation. When you go into the spiritual lifestyle, you go through initiations. And these initiations determine at what level you can access, right? Because they're not going to let you access certain information and knowledge if you're not going to use it in a loving and kind manner, right? So I had, running, I remember years ago I ran this course for women. I used to do a lot of stuff with women, empowerment. And I was in another country, and this woman said to me, oh, I'd really like to translate for you. And I said, okay. And, I paid her very well and everything. And she said to me at the beginning of it, oh, can I record this so that I can see how well I translate? And I'm a very innocent person. I would never think of anything negative, you know. It was just wasn't in my thought wheel. So I said, of course. And then a couple of months later, someone came to me and she said, you know, this woman is doing the same thing as you, but she's doing it in our language. And I went to it because I thought, oh, this is interesting. My goodness, you know, someone else is teaching the same as Susan. How fascinating. She said, so I thought I'd go along and, you know, in my own language, experience it. And at the end of it, I said to her, do you know Susan Ashley? And she denied knowing you. And I said to her, this is exactly the same course. That's bizarre that you don't know her. And she said, no, I don't know her. So then she told me the woman's name. And I said, well, yeah, I do know her because she translated my thing. So then I ring this woman and I say to her, hey, what are you doing? Because I knew she was running another one that weekend. What are you doing this weekend? Do you want to come? You want to catch up for coffee? She goes, oh, no, I'm busy. And I said, oh, really? What are you doing? She said, oh, no, Sinead. She said, well, you know, you inspired me. So I thought I'd do a couple of lectures on, you know, what I gained from your course. And I said, really? That's not what I heard. I heard blah, blah, blah. And I said to her, look, you can continue doing this. That's up to you if you want to be dishonest. But what I want you to know is that course is designed to trigger certain things in women. And unless you are a therapist or at least a counselor, you're not going to be able to hold the energy and help any women that get triggered. And she called me all manner of names, blah, blah, blah. And she said to me, well, you know, and I said, and the other thing is that I literally spent 20 years developing that knowledge, working with people, meditating. She said, anybody can get this if we sit. And I said, okay, then you sit and you meditate and you get the same processes and information that I did. You won't. Why? Because you haven't passed the initiations to be able to hold that energy and hold that information with respect. And you've just proven to every woman that's come to you that you do not respect them because you didn't respect me. End of story. Right? So you have initiations and we all go through them. And we are going through an initiation of intimidation, I'm telling you. So be clear. Look, I know that was one thing that happened to me, but another thing that happened to me was even worse. You know, I've had even worse things where I've had to be 100% clear in my mind, have no doubt whatsoever that I am telling the truth and I'm coming from that knowingness of what is the truth. And I've been absolutely clear on it and I've won it. And I can't tell you how many situations I've been in, legal situations, medical situations, all sorts of situations I won't go into now, that would 100% prove to the novice that either it's a miracle or I know something. And I don't go around teaching it. Why? Because you have to go through the initiation to be able to receive it. Spirit will give it to you. I can open you up to the concept of it and perhaps get you ready for that initiation and how and to notice what that initiation is, because some people don't even notice. Like that woman that did that to me with the courses didn't realize that she was at the beginning of her spiritual journey. She thought she was at the end of it, but she was actually at the beginning of her spiritual journey. Number one lesson, integrity. Number one, she failed it. 100% she failed it. So integrity is your first initiation. If you don't pass that, there is no go forward. And then you go through a series of other initiations. Forgiveness, compassion, you know, it's endless. So I'm wishing you well. I hope to see you in the channeling. I think I'm going to stop here because I don't want to talk too long. I don't like these videos that are too long-winded. I hope you've enjoyed listening to what I'm saying. I have no idea who's on here, who's not on here, what's going on. I'm hoping that this has recorded and it's going to go through. I hope to see you on the 26th of April for the channeling. You simply need to go to my website, lovelightandtruth.com, and register and pay for the channeling. It's only €30. That's really nothing. It's minimal compared to what a lot of other people charge, and I always keep my things at a reasonable amount. And you get the opportunity to ask questions. It can be any question, personal or broad. We did a channeling a little while back where we just did questions and answers, and that was actually really insightful and really good because it gives you a viewpoint on what people are thinking about, what they're concerned about, what's going on in the collective. And usually what happens is Kassandra does an initial conversation. So she will share some information on what's going on, what to expect, etc. And then she opens the floor to questions. And as I said, they can be any question, personal or otherwise. So, yeah. And we also have, I think that's just after Easter when we do that channeling. This weekend, we have the eclipse on Saturday in Aries, New Beginnings. So I invite you to the meditation we do on Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. Paris time. It's called Ignite the Light. It's free. You join the meditation by going to the homepage of lovelightandtruth.com. Scrolling down to Ignite the Light, you'll see the Zoom link there. Click on the link and join us, because this Saturday we're going to do a manifestation, a manifestation meditation. We do a lot in those meditations. It's also about spiritual development, opening up the DNA, defining spaces, creating boundaries, raising your vibration for protection around your home, around your family. You can learn a lot through those meditations as well. And we do a lot for the planet also. The most important thing at the moment is to go within. To connect, to remember what Kassandra said. Don't connect to the metaverse. That's giving your power away. It's actually enhancing their ability to intimidate you. Connect to the universe. And guess what? The trees, the animals, the birds, the grass, the water, the air, it's all part of the universe, and so is your body. You are one with that. It is bioorganic. The metaverse is not. And I understand I'm using technology right now to communicate with you, and that's wonderful. But don't get hooked on it for hours a day scrolling down when you could be laughing, singing, dancing, enjoying, gardening, inventing, cooking, doing something, right? So enjoy the day. I hope to see you Saturday, and I hope to see you on the 26th. Please register now, because there is a limited space for the channeling. Okay, lots of love, and bye for now.